This next news topic is really, really interesting because it concerns a project that, we'll be honest, we've said repeatedly we didn't actually believe was legit, and that's DC's upcoming Batgirl movie. Well, it seems like it's legit because they're holding castings, and they have their eye on a couple contenders that they are more or less narrowing it down to 4 specific options. And I'll tell you what, 2 of these names kind of get me really, really excited. And I'll be honest, 2 of these names I know diddly squat about, but I'm not going to pretend that I know anything about them. So I'm going to have to look at my handy-dandy cheat sheet, because we've always got our notes here. 2 of these names I do know. Isabela Merced, who I know best from the Dora the Explorer live-action movie that we always rave about.
That she's great in, yeah.
Yes. Zoey Deutch, who, for you Disney people, she was original in Sweet Life on Deck. She was the girl that broke up right before the finale with Zach, and it's still the stupidest decision. But I know her better for Zombieland 2 as the ditzy blonde, who is the best thing about that movie. And then we have Leslie Grace, who I believe was the one from In the Heights, or Haley Lu Richardson. One of them was in the Heights recently on HBO Max, which got rave reviews, but did terrible at the box office. So of those 4 names, I lean a little bit more towards Isabela Merced or Zoey Deutch, just because I know who they are. I've at least seen them before. So the other 2, they could be perfect for this role. We don't know what the script is like. We've heard some rumors about who the villain is, and I'll be honest, it's an interesting route to take, but following the comics, it would make sense for those that want to know. I'll give you a slight hint of it's fire-based as a villain, which is interesting. It is tied to her story somehow. But looking at the 2, Isabela Merced or Zoey Deutch are my 2 options. I primarily just because I have seen them in stuff before. Of those 2, I get really excited for Zoey Deutch because she was hysterical in Zombieland, but also she's tried her hand in a variety of different things. Plus, I'm just a sucker for accuracy, and just look up pictures of her with red hair, because she sported it a few times, and holy crap, does she look like Rebirth Batgirl if ever I've seen it. That being said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a white ginger as Barbara. I prefer if she has red hair, but she doesn't have to be a white ginger to be Barbara. Clearly, Isabela Merced does not follow that mold. But talent always wins out as opposed to how you will physically look on the page of a comic. Jason Momoa does not look like Arthur Curry in the comics. However, he's a perfect Aquaman.
Yeah.
So you can race bend it however you want, so long as the person is still fit for the role perfectly. I think either one of those options would be perfect. I, again, don't know the other 2. Josh, do you know those other 2 women at all? And do you know or have a preference about these other 2 ladies, Isabela Merced or Zoey Deutch?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't know the other 2 girls. I feel bad, but I just it's one of the I'm not good with names, so the fact that I know Isabela or Zoey at all is impressive. So I do think I'm leaning a little heavier on Zoey, partly because I get a hit girl vibe from her, and that's always dude. Any chance to see any more incarnations of what Hit Girl could be, I am here for. But at the same time, I think Isabela Merced would be super good too, especially if they actually went like half Asian or Asian with Dick Grayson.
You bring up the important questions, my friend. Yes, you bring up the important questions.
I just think it would be really, really cool, and I gotta be careful how I phrase this, because I don't want it to seem like, guys, the Bat family should be diverse. No, the Bat family should be,
whoever's best for the job.
Accurate. Yeah, whoever's best for the job. But I mean, if you're gonna go comic book accurate, I mean, then Dick Grayson should not be a white guy.
Well, he's Romanian, so.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
Anyway, dude, don't bark up the trivia.
Yeah, no, you're right. But yeah, no, I think either girl would be great for it. I'm still not entirely convinced this project exists.
Yeah, seriously.
But whatever.
The other thing I appreciate is a lot of these actresses. One, they're diverse in terms of they're not solely looking for, well, you got to be white with red hair. Like, that mold isn't specifically what they're looking for. They're trying different types of actresses. But I appreciate that they're all mid to early 20s, which is the perfect age. There is that temptation to kind of go with the big name, because I think I've said this before on the podcast, but dang it, if this movie didn't come out a few years ago and we could have gotten Karen Gillan. But I'm glad that they're not doing that, and they're going with, no offense to any of the women that we've talked about today, but I appreciate they're going with what the mainstream would probably perceive as no-name actresses. That way we will only see the character. Then, obviously, Josh brought up the great point, because if he didn't, I was going to. Okay, cool. As soon as this gets cast, who is your Dick Grayson that matters the world to me? Because this is probably the closest we're going to get to Nightwing for a little bit, because we will, mark my words, we will get Robin in the Matt Reeves Batmans, but it probably won't be until the second one at the earliest. However, we can very easily have a Nightwing in a Batgirl sequel, or even a passing reference, because try as you want DC Comics to try and split them apart, although thank you Tom Taylor for reuniting them and teaming up for the past few issues. Dick and Babs are so inexplicably tied together. They're such a iconic comic book pairing. Like, you've got Superman and Lois. I was about to say Dick Grayson and Babs, but Dick and Starfire too, but I've just never been a fan of that. They're one of the most iconic DC couples, so at some point, Dick Grayson has to be in the picture, right? Even if it's just a end credits tease of just, she says, I'm going to go visit a friend, and you just see the flying circus poster or something like that. You will hear my screams of joy no matter where you live, my loyal listeners at home. Also, my random thought of the day. They are going to recast Jim Gordon. Unfortunately, it's not going to be J.K. Simmons or Jeffrey Wright. This will be yet another Pocket Universe. I don't know why this name stuck in my head, but how would you feel about John Goodman as her dad, as Commissioner Gordon?
Yes. Absolutely.
Just
there's not even gonna fight. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just imagining the Killing Joke, and he's the one strapped to the swan chair, and it's.
I don't want to picture that.
I don't I'm just imagining that level of acting going. Not to disrespect anybody that's could be in the running, blah blah blah, but just. John Goodman's so good, man.
He's a good man. Are you proud of yourself for that one?
I didn't do that on purpose. Otherwise, I'd be super proud. I should do comedy.
If he's not Commissioner Gordon, he should be Harvey Bullock, Josh's favorite comic book character of all time.
Harvey Bullock can go
just John Goodman at some point. But yes, we will be also getting a new Gordon, but I think Batgirl will be cast first. I think at the latest, this character will be cast by August, and we will have an official look at her in the suit at DC Fandom this year. I agree. I think we're going to get a lot of stuff at Fandom this year, and it makes me super, super excited.